माइक ऑफ है। माइक ऑफ है।
हेलो।
यस सर, अब आवाज आ रही है सर एकदम। नाउ योर वॉइस इज ऑडिबल।
ओके ओके। So the empty chest is the first story, and it is by Indira Goswami, and she is the most popular Assamese writer. And you will have a look at Assamese literature through this story. The setting of the story is in Kamrup, Assam. Okay, Kamrup is a place in Assam, and in Kamrup also you will find this writer Arun Indira Goswami was also born there, and that is how she has confined most of her stories, the settings of her stories to that area and the people of that area. Uh, Altogether, you will find the Assamese culture, the concept of life in Assamese culture has been represented here. Love and human relationship is the most important theme you'll find at the core of most of our well-known stories. And here also the same you will find. This story is based on human relationship, based on human passion, love. The original title of this story was Udang Bakach. Okay, Udang Bakach, Udang Udang, Udang Bakach Bakach. Udang Bakach was the title, original title in Assami, and it was translated by Pradipta Bhorgahin. Okay. And it was translated into English by Pradipta Borgohain. Goswami, Indira Goswami is popular with the name Mamoni Raisham Goswami in Assam, and she was the only women writer to receive the most prestigious award, the Gyanabit Award, that we consider to be the most prestigious award in literature from Assam in 2000, in the year 2000. Okay, in 2000 she received this prestigious award. So the award itself reveals that how important the writer Indira Goswami may be in her own place in India. Now she has written 25 novels and 100 short stories in Assamese. Okay, she was a professor in Delhi. Um, she is very famous for her writing. Anyhow, this is a brief introduction about Indira Goswami. Now we will go straight into the story, that is the empty chest. Okay, it's a very interesting story, a love story. The main characters are Tora Doi is the central character, is the protagonist. Tora Doi. Okay, and her lover, who is dead in the story, we will find him alive in flashbacks.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Hello, yes,
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Which block is being done?
block 5.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry for
Block
interruption.
block 5, short story part 2. Two
Yeah,
parts,
thank
block 4 and 5, they are concerned with short stories, Indian short stories, which have been translated into English. This is the
you.
second part.
The MEG-14.
MEG-14, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, the mic was off. I said in the in at the beginning, I said about all these things. Um, by mistake, the mic was off. That is why I suppose you could not hear. Anyhow, this is the um, fifth block of MEG-14, and we are continuing the short story part 2. And the first story is The Empty Chest by Indira Goswami. The main character is Tora Doi. Um, Her lover is Saru Bopa. Okay. And there is another character, Heiber, a vendor who used to sell firewood, and a policeman, brother of Toradui, the main character, Someso. Okay, so you will find these four characters. Two of her children, they come to the scene sometimes, but they are not important. So four characters: Toradui, the central character; Sarubopa, the dead lover of Toradui, and becomes come to the scene in flashback. Okay, and the policeman brother named Someswar also comes at the end of the story. We'll find him to be important to some extent, because he is the one who changed the course of the story. Okay, we'll come to the storyline, then you can understand. Haber is one more character. So okay, when the story begins, we find Toradui living near a cremation ground in a very uh, you can say poor sack, in a very destituted cabin with her two children, and mostly depending on the beggings of the begging, or whatever the children they beg from the people, those who come to the cremation ground to perform the last rites. And Toradui was also working with Haber, the vendor of the firewood. I said she was working there. Anyhow, they managed to leave. Her husband was in jail. When the story opens, we find the husband of Toradui is in jail due to uh, rash driving, okay, and killing two persons. Because of that, the husband was in jail, and Toradoi and her two children, they are living near a cremation ground in a very uh, poor cabin. Okay, so that is the scene how it begins. The story begins with Toradoi finds a coffin. Okay, that the title says, the chest, empty chest. We say the coffin is named as chest. She finds a coffin smeared with blood that was supposed to be cremated in the cremation ground. And she, when the story opens, we find the coffin being taken to that small cabin. She has taken it inside, and she had found that the body inside the coffin was the body of her lover Saru, Saru Bopa. Okay, so now the flashback comes. Now, how Sarubopa is now lying dead in the coffin, and how they have means Tora Dui and Sarubopa, how they are related, what happened to their love. So all these things we will come to know through flashback. Tora Dui was working in a jamindar's house. Okay, and the son of the jamindar was Sarubopa. Sarubopa was the son of the jamindar, and Toradoi before marriage was working there. Okay, and they have their love developed. Okay, they were intensely loving each other, and they were also ready to get married. But due to the interference of the families, both of the families, due to the social status, the differences in their social status, they could not materialize their dream. They could not marry each other. They were separated. Means the son of the Jamindar, means Saru, was taken into a separate place. Okay, and here uh, Torah Doi was forced to marry a drunkard, a driver, who later went to jail because of his rash driving. But before the husband was jailed, Toradoi had two children. Okay, now she is living with those two children. And when Toradoi was in love with Saru, it was a true love for both of them, and Toradoi was very intense in that true love. Okay, so now coming back to the real to the present, we find when Toradoi found the dead body of um, means her lover still unmarried after 10 years of her marriage, having two children with her husband. Now she finds that her lover Saru was still unmarried. That is how she became overwhelmed with the happiness that she had a great relationship with Saru, a true love for which Saru was still unmarried. Perhaps Saru would not have married throughout his entire life. That was the kind of concept that she developed in her mind, that this may be the reason, this may be the cause. That is why she means Saru remained unmarried, a bachelor. Uh, in order to celebrate the last moment, she took out all the dresses. Marriage dresses means the blouse, the kind of ornaments she had kept uh, in that small cabin. She took out all, and in the night when the children are asleep, she wore all these ornaments and blouse, and thought of as if they were enjoying the very first night of their marriage. Okay, she has forgotten about her husband who was in jail. She has forgotten about the presence of the two children. She has forgotten that now how she looked like. She looked like as if having only bones in her body. So at a time when she was in love with Saru, she said in one sentence that at that time she was in doubt whether she had any bones. Okay, means she was very healthy. The bones are not visible, even not you cannot touch the bone. Full of the body was full of flesh, and now only bones are visible. So you can understand how poverty has made this beautiful lady a mere skeleton now. So in this scene, you will find Torade has forgotten all these things, that the beauty, the kind of prettiness that she had once upon a time, the kind of charming attraction that used to attract a lot of males towards her, has already gone. But still, she now you can imagine that she is not talking about the sensual kind of love. She was not in the thought of sensuality. She was in the sphere of you can say platonic love. Platonic means true love, the love of the hearts, the love of the minds, not the body. It's not about the sensuality or body. Okay, so she dressed up like that. She slept also in that coffin beside the dead body of Saru. She slept inside it. So you can imagine how she is connected with Saru through the minds, through the heart. Okay, she was separated. She was married to a different person. She had two children, and she was living like this. And on the opposite hand, on the other hand, we find Saru to be socially higher in status. We find he belongs to a jamindar family. His father is a jamindar, and he is very rich, educated, and everything. So now she has forgotten all these social obstructions that obstructed them to materialize their dream, their ambitions, whatever they had while in love with each other. And now, when she found that nobody is watching and everybody in the night, in the darkness of the night, were asleep, or you can say passive, not in action, she got the scope to materialize the inner quest of her heart, the inner urge of her heart. Whatever the urge was there, she tried to enjoy all these things. Sleeping there inside, she was caressing the empty chest of Saru. Okay, she did everything to show to the audience, to the reader, that's how much actually she was in love with uh, Saru. The passionate love between them was very much clearly mentioned in the description, how she behaved with the body in the dead of night, in the means you can say in the darkness of night when everybody is asleep. She was enjoying her marriage, uh, marriage of the hearts, marriage of the minds, in the in her small cabin. That was the scene. Okay, so then she also surrendered herself as if a true and chaste beloved to Saru. She surrendered everything. Okay, as if she is now completely Saru's property, Saru's possession, and she behaved as if she is a chaste lady. She has no husband, no children, nobody, because she had forgotten about her past family and the children for the time being. She has kept her dignity intact by not opting to sell her body to Haber or any other persons, those who wish to take the chance of enjoying a woman in the absence of her husband. That was a very crucial scene you must have seen in the rural areas, particularly. Not in rural areas, everywhere you might see that if the husband of a lady either dead or in jail for a infinite time, so you may imagine how people, particularly having a very sensual intention, they look at those ladies. You can have experiences. If a widow is living beside you or around your locality, you can see some of the evil kind of people, those who um, try all the time to enjoy that helpless lady sexually without understanding the sentiment, the emotion, the psychological state of mind that is always going on inside this lady. They only think of, they look at the physical appearance of the lady. So that is something also happened to this Torudoi. Okay, Toradoi. So Toradoi working with this Haber, the Haber always wants that Toradoi should come to her, come to him, or he should go to Toradoi. Most of the time, he says, "Keep the door open in night. I'll go, and you will have no problem. You can enjoy all the comfort." Means they were not in comfortable state. That they were living in a very ruined kind of cabin like sack, which is quite you cannot see it at all. So it was very close to the cremation ground. There was foul smell coming always out of the cremation ground. You must have experienced that when a body is burnt, the smell that usually comes, they are very much acquainted to that. And the children, they usually the two children of um, Toradoi, they used to sit there, and throughout the day they wait for the people to come, and so that they will beg. If they find 1 rupees or 2 rupees, they directly run to a shop, and they buy something to fill their stomach. Most of the time they sleep without taking any food. Okay, even they do not have a bottle to drink water. So you will find in a scene that the two children, they are drinking water using uh, a wine bottle usually thrown away after you have taken out the wine. You throw away the bottle. They have cleaned that bottle and storing water inside it. They used to drink whenever they feel thirsty. So that is a situation in which Toradui was living, but still she never surrendered herself to Haber, who was always in the scope that when Toradui will be submissive and will surrender herself to him, and he will uh, enjoy her body. So Haber always trying will find from the story, and some others might be there, those who have a bad eye on this lady, but she has never lost her dignity. She has never sold her body to anybody. So this is very important when she surrenders herself to Saru when he is dead also. So there we find that she has kept her dignity intact without being violated by anybody uh, who is uh, uh, who is neither Haber or anyone else. So we find that uh, she she has sacrificed the comfort and luxury that Haber offered in contrast in exchange of her body. Okay, so she has never opted for that. That is reality. If you want to live on, go on in your life, go on living, you have to accept certain realities. So certain women they become prostitutes because of this, because of life propels them, provokes them to come and accept the reality, that is that it might be prostitution or anything else. Okay, so that is how we find this lady, the protagonist, to be very dignified in nature, irrespective of all the problems, troubles, poverty, everything. She has never lost her chastity. So this is very important. But at this moment, what happens? Her brother policeman, I told you, came. Okay, the Someshwar, the name of the policeman, working in the local police station as a constable, is Someshwar is a constable working, and he has entered the room. He has entered because he has to collect certain information related to the bodies, dead bodies. That police is always connected with the dead persons, starting from post-mortem and other things. They have to hand over the body to the concerned people, and then many things they have, according to law, they have to do. So that is why, in that connection, he has paid a visit to that cremation ground, and he wanted to also see his sister. So that is why he entered the house of Toradui. So now, what he saw there, he was very much surprised. Okay, by seeing the coffin and Toradui sleeping inside it, he could not understand, and also revealed the truth to Toradui. Like, Saru was not very faithful to Toradui, according to the policeman. The Saru was not at all faithful. That the idea Toru they usually have, at the beginning, we find that she thought because of her only, Saru is still a bachelor. She thought that, and he might be a bachelor throughout his entire life. That was a kind of idea she developed in her mind. But now the policeman said that Saru was not at all faithful to her. She was supposed to marry another girl. He had no objection in getting married to another girl. Okay, it is he who was coming to marry a girl. On the way, there was an accident, and Saru was killed in that accident. So Saru, that according to Torah Dei, Saru was a very faithful lover. So that concept was proved wrong when the policeman uh, throw away some papers, some wedding cards to Toradui. Toradui. So Toradui saw that the wedding cards names Saru and some other girl. So she became completely surprised to see all these things. Okay, so this revelation with the evidence of the wedding card shattered all her passionate love and feelings. Okay, from the feelings of getting united with Saru even after his death, this kind of idea that for a time being developed in her mind, she was enjoying everything as if Saru was alive, and she had forgotten the reality that her husband is in jail, her children are dying, are about to die in poverty. She is also a very exemplary victim of poverty. She has forgotten all these things. Her beauty, her everything has gone away, and now she is left with nothing. So everything she has forgotten. She was only thinking about how to materialize her dream of loving and caring and enjoying a married life with Saru. She comes out of her home. At the end of the story, we find she coming out of her house without caring about her appearance, without the chadar. It is written without the chadar. The chadar is a kind of protective uh, to expose the from the exposure of the body. Usually girls are very much acquainted with hiding the body, certain parts of body. So that is how you need a chadar, a kind of ordni, or many such things that we need, means the girls, the women need. So now we find, while coming out of after this revelation by the policeman, when Toradoi is coming out of the house, she did not care about the visibility of her body, that it is a kind of indication that she is ready to anything. She is ready to do anything. Means some say that she is ready to accept the offer of Haver, or the offer of being a prostitute. If that prostitution can uh, sorry, if the prostitution can solve all her problems, if that can give two meals a day to her children, if they can live a normal life, they cannot starve to death. So what is wrong with that? His husband is in jail, and whatever she believed, that her trust and everything proved to be very meaningless now. She was deceived by Saru. Okay, so now she is very much, she is ready to go down to any extent in order to survive. For survival, she is ready to do, and that was symbolical when she comes out of her house in that morning when the policeman went away. We find she coming out of the house without caring about the visibility of her body, without wearing the chadar she used to wear when she comes out of the house. So now it is very much clear, and she was searching for Haver also. Haver is always standing at a hazel tree. There was a tree. Okay. She means Haver used to stand there and wait for when Toradevi will open the door in night. He used to wait throughout the night. Every day he comes and waited there, that if Toradevi opens the door by accepting his offer, then he will enjoy her body. That was his intention, and he was used to stand there behind that hazel tree. But now, today, when Toradvik comes out of her house in a decision to accept the reality of life, the truth of life, she did not find Haver standing there anymore today. So this is the end of the story. Okay. This is the end of the story. This is a love, you can say the unfulfilled love kind of story, a very interesting story. There you will find a lot of symbols in this story. Okay, the uh, symbols are, the most important symbol is the empty chest. First, the very important symbol is
Can't audible, sir.
hello. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the interruption. Somebody called me. Okay. So the very important symbol is the title itself, the empty chest. Okay. Uh, the empty chest or the coffin, you can say the chest, the coffin is a symbol of death. The first one is the death. Toradu's love, her matrimonial consummation. Okay, everything is symbolized or is symbolic, proved through this symbol. The empty chest symbolizes the love is dead now. The love of Toradui, the faith, the trust of Toradui. Okay, the matrimonial, the marital, you can say, the conjugal bliss that she used to enjoy out of the union, out of their materialization of their married life. So everything was killed, everything is dead now with the empty chest or with the coffin itself. Okay, a symbol of, it is a symbol of you can say fulfillment, belongingness, conjugal bliss. Okay, the chest is also a monster, we can say monster who devours everything. Okay, here the chest devours her love, devours the love of Toradoi, her belief, her dignity, her trust, her passion, passionate love and compassion. Everything you will find being devoured. Devour means to gulp down something at a time. Okay, ଗିଳିଦବା ପୁରା ଯେତେବେଳେ you take something at a time. If you are a very huge, if you think of a dinosaur, and when the dinosaur eats a man, you can say it devours the man, because uh, man can be at a time taken into the mouth of the dinosaur. So now you see, the chest devours all the hope, aspirations, ambitions, the kind of trust, the kind of bliss, conjugal bliss means the bliss, the happiness that is enjoyed out of marriage, out of conjugal life. Okay, so everything is now destroyed, everything is now shattered because of this coffin, because of this you can say this empty chest, and that is why it is a symbol of death. Another important symbol is the hazel tree. I was talking about the tree, the hazel tree, the beautiful the sound, the chirruping sound of the bulbul, and the Brahmaputra river that goes through Assam. Brahmaputra is a river, has been narrated, has been mentioned twice in the story. It is a source of life, it is a symbol of life. Okay, the hazel tree is the reality. Bulbul chirruping, the sound is the reality. Okay, so you have to accept the truth, you have to accept the reality, so that life becomes uh, you can enjoy life, you can live your life. Otherwise, survival is quite difficult. So this proves that the title is very ironic. Okay, like the empty chest, Toradoi's life is full of emptiness. The life of Toradoi is completely empty. Some kind of hope and aspiration that she had secretly nurtured in the dark, in a secret place in her heart, you can say, she has kept hidden towards Saru, was also at last got destroyed. You can see shattered, everything was gone now, and the emptiness is very open now. She felt that nothing is left. Lured by empty hopes in her younger days. Okay, even in her younger days, she was lured by empty hopes by Saru. Saru gave her empty hopes that we will marry and we will live together and we have a lot of money. You will be removed out of your poverty. So this kind of hopes that Toradui had during her childhood, during her younger days, they are also proved empty when they got separated. She married to a driver. A worthless husband is also the part of emptiness. You can say the emptiness is again established when she married to a drunkard driver. The driver earns very less, and she spends in drinking most of his earning, and now that much is not available as he is punished with imprisonment. Lastly, her inherited, you can say, weakness faded away in the vast emptiness of misfortune. Okay, so you can say now the weakness that she had, that she is having now, faded away in the emptiness of the misfortune. So all the misfortune has taken away all the hopes of life now. Now, no hopes left, no life left for her. Though she is ready to confront the reality of the world, she is ready to accept prostitution that one day she denied. Now she is ready, but still she could not enjoy anything anymore. She is completely shattered, and this is the end of the story. You can say this is the scene. Okay, so now hope is a theme. And so, if you talk about the themes, hope is a theme, a driving force of life. If you have hope, you can live life in all the situations. So, the same thing you will find here, hope being very important. Unfulfilled love is another important theme. So you will find you can relate the theme with the scenes, with the storyline, that how the love is proved unfulfilled twice. Once when they get got separated by any by by the forces of the society, and again when uh, Toradoi finds that her love is cheated by Saru. Saru was not really in true love the way Toradui had uh, towards their love. So that is unfulfilled love. I'm not going in details. It's very um, the unbreakable spirit. Another theme. There's the spirit of this lady is unbreakable. You cannot break it because you can see, irrespective of all the misfortune that imposed on this lady, she's still standing. She is still trying to live by any means. She has never exchanged her dignity for comfortability or for the kind of luxury. Okay, so this is the unbreakable spirit. You can say the feministic aspect of the story. This is feministic, that we consider the female to be very weak in spirit. They cannot do that. They cannot withstand with this. They cannot tolerate this. They will die. They cannot live. So we, the men-dominated society, believes that. If you put a woman in such situations, she cannot resist. She cannot cope with that. But that is proved wrong by Torado in the story. After all, even when she found that Saru has cheated her love, has deceived her, still she has the energy to start a new life, keeping away all the memories of Saru that she has kept hidden in her heart. So she forgot everything about Saru. Now she is ready to start a new life. So this is hope. This is the spirit. And class discrimination you can see very clearly. So because Toradoi was a a girl from a lower class society, she was not approved for marriage to Saru. So these are the themes. We do not have much time to discuss anything more about this story. Now we'll straight jump to the next story by Motilal Jatwani, Very Lonely Sea. This is another story. The story is usually means actually written by Sindhi. Okay, Sindhi language. Uh, Motilal was born in Sukkar in Sindh area. Sindh is now in Pakistan. Okay, it was written in 1936, and Motilal Jatwani had written 50, written more than 50 works in all, including novels, essays, stories, poetries, criticism, translations, everything. He has written more than 50 works, you can say. The Hindi title of this story, Very Lonely Sea, was Akeli Akeli Hoa. That was the title of the story, Akeli Akeli Hoa. Okay. It was published in a quarterly journal, Sipun, in Mumbai from July 1999 to September 1999. This is from July to September in 1999. It has been episode in different episodes. It has been published in the journal. It was translated and published in Katha in 2020 by his own brother. Okay, Nandalal Jatwani, her own brother. So now coming to the story, Very Lonely Sea, the title itself shows that it's about loneliness. Okay, it's about loneliness. Okay, Puran Mausi is the central character. Puran Mausi. Okay, and Puran Mausi, one second.
Hello. Voice is muted, sir.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
are audible.
You are audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Puran Mausi
Yeah.
is the central character of this story,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and the main character is a lonely lady living in Agra in her parental house. Okay, so two characters we have here we will come across. One is Puran Mausi, the central character. Another one is Manohar. Manohar is her sister's son. Okay, Bimala is her younger sister, and sister's son is Bimala's son is Manohar. So now, so we'll talk about loneliness in Agra that Puran Mausi had experienced the most. Okay, she was living lonely, a lonely life. She was lonely when her parents means she was abandoned by her husband. Okay, and she lived on her parents' house in Agra. She was lonely when her parents died. Her parents were alive that she used to manage, but now when her parents died, she was alone. She had been running a domestic school, okay, and giving lessons in tailoring and embroidery and etiquettes. But now, during her old age, she lives on the income that comes from the rent of the a portion of that parental house. Okay, some portion of the house has been given on rent, and whatever rent comes from that, she usually live on that. Okay, this is the present condition of Puran Mausi. And Puran Mausi uh, is the central character, and the story is narrated by Manohar. And as he calls Puran as Puran Mausi, and the character of Puran Mausi is mentioned as Puran Mausi in the story. She cannot afford newspaper, telephone, television, all these things. She cannot afford to those means you can say the things which can give you company. You can forget about your loneliness. If you have a smartphone or telephone, you can talk to somebody. If you have a television, if you see movies and other things, you can also enjoy itself. You can enjoy and you forget about your loneliness. And newspaper is also something while reading uh, you can forget about your loneliness for that time being. So she cannot afford all these things. That is why she was very lonely, but anyhow she was happy and she was living with contentment. Life becomes the way you made it, you mold it. This is something she said against her loneliness. This is a line said by Puran Mausi, that life becomes the way you mold it. Okay, if you mold according to you enjoy you experience your loneliness. He said that life becomes uh, enjoyable if you mold it in that way. Life becomes pathetic if you fail to mold it in the proper direction. This is the meaning that she enjoys whatever she had. She never complains of anything. Okay, but she welcomed Manohar. Manohar, her sister's son, visits her while going from Bhopal to Delhi within the truck, within the road. In Agra, he thought of visiting the lonely Mausi, and Manohar paid a visit to Puran Mausi. So they have a discussion from where we came to know the loneliness of Puran Mausi. So Manohar was a very loving boy, loving man. Okay, when the lady finds Manohar in her house, she welcomed Manohar with loving and wet eyes. She cried to some extent because for after a long time she found somebody to give company to her. She remembers his preferences also. This is how you can understand not like sugar in tea. She likes tea in a mug. She likes tea to drink to sip tea in a mug. So whatever the preferences of Manohar, she has still remembered. She has not forgotten. Her loneliness is revived with the arrival of her nephew. So when Manohar reached this place, she realized that she was lonely before this. The loneliness was experienced actually when a company comes and leaves you. So until you are alone, you cannot, for a long time, if you are staying alone, you cannot say what loneliness is. But if once Some people, some relatives come and stay for 1 month, and when they leave, you can really feel loneliness is how much pathetic. So now, when they are discussing about their life and everything, so Puran Mausi realized, revived the actual loneliness. Okay, for God's sake, Chachi, leave us alone. This is something the remark by her brother-in-law's son. Means Puran Mausi's brother-in-law's son once said to Puran Mausi, "For God's sake, Chachi, leave us alone." This is a statement which you can understand during old age. The young people, they do not like the old people. They always try to get rid of them. Okay, so now this is something which is quite afresh in the mind of Puran Mausi when he finds Manohar and shares these things with Manohar, and Manohar reacts to it also in a negative way, that this is not good, this is something very bad, they should not have said like this. Manohar said all these things. Okay, and he said, "Do you feel comfortable with me?" So if you are with us, means the sister and her son, everyone. So do you feel comfortable, or you feel like being with your brother-in-law's house? So Puran Mausi said, "No, you are different anyhow." But Manohar, when Puran Mausi asks about Vimala, so things became a bit critical. When Puran Mausi asked Manohar about Vimla, Manohar confesses that Vimla had a very a great tragedy, and in which she lost her husband a few months before. That was that they forgot to inform her, or they have omitted to inform her. So this is very pathetic when Manohar confesses honestly. Manohar is a honest kind of a guy. He said what actually was done. Means when Bimala's husband died, they deliberately did not inform this old lady, because they thought that there will be no meaning even if we inform this lady. They do not think it is important to inform this Puran Mausi about this tragedy. And Manohar confessed it uh, in front of this lady. So this is something made Manohar similar to the to the son of her brother-in-law, who once said, "For God's sake, Chachi, leave us alone." The same thing again the lady could find in the words of Manohar. It is ironical that Manohar, who inquires about Mausi's relatives in Delhi and says, simply said, at last, "Forget and forgive." So, after realizing that I inquired about the relatives and I opposed their behavior to the lady, so now I have also done, means our family has done the same thing with the lady. So, after realizing this, Manohar said, "Forget and forgive us." So, this is something we have done by mistake. Manohar reflects on loneliness and aloneness. There are two concepts. Whatever you call loneliness is one, and aloneness is a different one. Okay. Uh, Loneliness is imposed by the society, the families, the people living around you. They impose loneliness on you. Okay. But aloneness is preferred by the person concerned. So if you among other people cannot feel friendly, or you can keep yourself aloof, you want to stay alone, that is aloneness. But when other peoples do not come to you, and you like others to come to you and others are not coming, that is loneliness. The kind of experience you enjoy or you experience at that time is called loneliness. So these are the two concepts that Manohar reflects on while he was sleeping. The story is based on the complex self-centered relationship in the modern, particularly in urban society, when the old people are of no use for them. They do not, they are not important, they are not for any kind of use, they are good for nothing. So they should be avoided. We should avoid them. This is the concept of the urban society that they have towards the old helpless ladies. This is the story is about. So I will say in very brief about the next story, that is the compromise by Vijayadan Detha. In the story Compromise, you will find only one character. Okay, Vijayadan Detha is a Rajasthani writer. You can say this is a literature from Rajasthan. This is very interesting, but I do not find time to discuss. So it is also very interesting, like the first story. Here you will find, and the story is written in a is written in an autobiographical manner. Okay, here you will find the story is set in Jodhpur, Rajasthan, and the action took place in the hostel, in the students' hostel of the Chorans. Okay, in Rajasthan, the leaders have their leaders, they have built up different hostels for the respective class castes. Suppose the Charans, they are a caste. Okay, they have separate hostels. Okay, the Bishnoi is another caste, they have their own hostels. The Rajput, they have their own hostels. The farmers, they have their own hostels. So you will find all these castes having their own hostels built up by the leaders, and Choran's hostel is meant for the Choran caste students. And the writer here, the protagonist, is the um, Askaran is the protagonist. Askaran is a Charan belonging to this caste, and he is also staying in the hostel. He has a habit of talking to the reflection in the mirror. He talks to his own reflection in the mirror. He finds different kind of images of her own through the mirror, according to the situation, according to his thought of mind, according to his perception. Okay, he finds different kind of different kinds of images, and the images, the picture, the reflection always wants him not to do something wrong. The image is always charging him of committing errors, committing something wrong, committing something full of guilt. The image always charges, and they have always the debate over such points. It goes on for a long time, and people think that this is a strange man, never comes out of his house or his room, and people have differentiated Askaran as a student. Other students feel Askaran is different because he is listening to the reflection of his own image in the mirror. So at the end, we find, in order to compromise, to end this kind of struggle, this kind of problem that was going on, in order to compromise means what? An agreement to end a conflict. Okay, so we'll find, in order to end this conflict, this Askaran means shatters the mirror, breaks the mirror into pieces, and now there is no reflection again. So he is completely free. So here the actual story starts. He becomes now very much acquainted with the outer society. There is nobody to charge him, nobody to question him. So he becomes, at the end of the story, you find he is a thanedar. He is a policeman having saved lakhs of rupees in corrupt ways, and is now well known in the society. So this is about the story, and the story says listen to your inner heart. If you kill your conscience, then only society will respect you. It might be corrupt in the corrupt way, you may earn your fame and name, you can earn your reputation, but that nobody will question. But if you do not follow the corrupt society, the rules of the corrupt society, you will be a strange man. That he was named as a strange man in the beginning of the story, but at the end, he has a good reputation and he is well known to the society, having a lot of money and a lot of, you can say, wealth. Okay, so this is the story about a compromise, and the compromise is about breaking the mirror. Okay, so you have the materials, so go through the materials. I hope you can understand the story and the critical analysis part of the story. Okay, so if you have any question, you ask. We have to start the next class, that is of MEG-7. If you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll stop. Any question? I hope all of you have mentioned your enrollment number and names in the chat box. So now, if you have to ask anything, you may ask. And the last story which was left, okay, the headmaster prawn and chanachur, that is also a good story, but we do not have time to discuss. So I am bound to stop. Let's see if we have time in any other class. I'll definitely think of covering it. Okay, thank you. So the next class has already started. Those who belong to MEG-7, you may join the class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.